Hello, I'm GVRP. I'm a student of Woxin University. I have the pleasure of introducing you to Mr. Sushant Shankar, a machine learning and a data science expert and technology entrepreneur. Sushant has been a hands on executive and a co founder in several high profile Silicon Valley startups. These startups have applied data science and machine learning to multiple industries experience, like advertising tech, e-commerce, retail, energy, biological sciences, and most recently in healthcare. All these companies are profitable firms and have been acquired. The common approach that Sushant has honed across these startups has been to instrument activities in the real world or the World Wide Web into qualitative and quantitative data. On this data, apply data science and machine learning to provide the execute on unique business and industry specific insights. Adding this and differential capability to drive significant top line growth and profitability to global 1,000 companies. Sushant's current company's focus and contribution is the application of data science and machine learning to healthcare. Sushant holds a BS in electrical engineering and computer science from UC Berkeley and an MS from Stanford University in computer science with a specialization in computational biology. He lives with his family in San Francisco Bay Area. We welcome you, sir. When did you decide this
Yes.
technology was your passion? What pushed you towards this?
I was very fortunate to have that exposure at a very early age, and
Yeah.
um, I I got introduced to coding or software programming also at a pretty young age. I think at the age of 8 or 9. I didn't really take it
Oh,
seriously until maybe the age of more seriously until the age of 12, or rather, I didn't necessarily enjoy it or get into it. Um, and so, I mean, 8 or 9, it was like a simple like website building class. Something very simple, but it was interesting. But yeah, I think I started doing it more as as a light hobby, nothing seriously, but just a light hobby. I enjoyed it. The school that I went into had a special program where basically they allowed you to specialize in computer science or biology or different things. So I chose computer science, and it was a pretty rigorous program. And that's when I really started to get more serious into it. So I was pretty familiar with. I didn't have any, I'll call it, practical experience. It was just more solving problems, right?
yeah,
Doing
yeah.
interesting problems and trying to come up with it. I don't think I was very good. I just enjoyed it. Um, and so for me, it was pretty natural that I looked to do engineering. In this, my father, like I was able to get advice from my father. I know that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I didn't know what, but I got some very good advice from my father to be technical first, right? And I think that was great advice. So even if there are, I'll call it like uh, people with entrepreneurial ambitions, I think I think having a solid technical grounding is definitely one way to go. And I think there's what I've seen from startups and successful startups and entrepreneurs is they kind of attack it in two different ways
Yeah.
or experiences. One is more from the marketing side, meaning really being able to have the tools to understand what a customer or end user want, and being able to be good at sales and those kind of things. So I think that's one capability that people attack it from. I think
Yeah.
more and more common is the technology part of it, where you know how to build a unique technology or product that you can bring to the market. And yeah, each kind of angle requires you to know a fair bit and figure out the other part, but you can come at it from one side. Um, so yeah, I think um, yeah, I was very fortunate in that I kind of knew that I wanted to be in the technology world. It was interesting to me. It was exciting, um, and yeah, I think for me, it was very
So,
not.
can we know what are the basic opportunities available for every BTech graduate?
It's a very good time to be involved in these kind of things and get these kind of degrees from great universities, right?
Yeah.
And so uh, I, I think there's a lot of opportunities. And with a lot of signal, there's also a lot of noise, right? So I think there's certainly things that
Yeah.
at least in my opinion, you can watch out for. But I think broadly speaking, Mark Andreessen is famous for his essay of software eats the world, right? Meaning pretty much everything is going to get digitized in the next
Yeah.
couple of decades. And some industries might take longer, um, but it's really exciting. It's an exciting time because if you think about the rapid advances in the last 2-3 decades, it's
Yeah.
incredible the pace of growth, and it's picking up. And it's because when you can make something virtual, meaning when you
Yeah.
can take a physical system and then look at it and analyze it and come up with insights, or do things without having to move that physical device, it really opens up
Yeah.
a whole set of possibilities. And then, of course, you have the entirely virtual world like the web and so on, right, that allows another set of possibilities. There's either companies who are working on, automating, making this into software, and then making this into data or data science problems, or there's an opportunity to do something new there, right? Or be part of something new. So there's kind of a nice mix of, okay, where do I want to be in that stack?
Yeah.
I could also be right? I could be a full stack. And where do I want to be at the industry? I think there's a lot of choice out there. I think for things like robotics, I'm less familiar in this area, but from what I've seen, I think there's a lot of opportunities in certain industries, right? Like transportation,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
self-driving cars, Internet of Things. So there's a boom in those things, and I think robotics is really interesting because it's definitely in that realm of um, being able to instrument our physical world,
Yeah.
and I think that's a very interesting, and it's very different from looking at like web applications and those kind of things, right? Each have their exciting parts, but yeah, it's different flavors. And I think on the machine learning side and AI side, which I've been able to be part of over the last decade, there's an explosion of it's newer than that, being able to have software for everything, but there's several industries, again, many industries are either trying to introduce AI and machine learning or are well on their way. And so um, a lot of opportunities, small, medium, large companies, and in some cases, in some countries and places, at the government level and research level as well.
How should a person go about building his career in technology? What are the baby steps that a person has to take for building
Mhm.
a bigger career in technology?
I think there's many paths to success, but at least some things that I kind of have observed along the way
Yeah,
from
definitely.
my my own things, but also from other people, is um, that I think using the undergraduate degree as really, I think focusing on two things, right? Focusing on what are the fundamentals, right? And so,
Yeah.
of course, wait, I spent all my time in school learning my fundamentals. Well, this is fundamentals of engineering really involve, the fundamentals of engineering, math,
Yeah.
science, right? And and I think there it's really important to not necessarily take classes just because it's practical, um, but take classes because you get a deeper understanding of the subject, right? Just like if you're in the military, you study past wars. You need to study how people solved complex problems that right now are understood and kind of widespread, but how did they solve those problems before? And so it's really important to, yes, it might not be problems that are there's that many opportunities, and certainly if you really are interested in compilers, there's still a
Yeah.
lot of work being done, and same with operating systems. Not
Yeah.
saying that, but in terms of, even if you're interested in robotics or AI or these different things, it's still important to have those fundamentals of how did people solve these really complex engineering problems, right? And so I think that kind of brings me to the second thing to focus on undergraduate, in my opinion, is critical thinking, which is really
Yeah.
at the core of engineering, is whether it's civil engineering or software engineering, is being able to solve problems, right? And so that critical thinking is in many ways the most generalizable skill set for anything that you want to do, not just engineering. Because if you're able to solve problems well, you can really bring that to any area. In fact, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why engineers are often great fits to being entrepreneurs in terms of it's a very critical path because of the critical thinking. It's not because of the fundamentals of the knowledge of operating systems or compilers that comes in separately, but it's because of that critical thinking skill set.